Hello and welcome to the Williams Wonderland Nutcracker Design Challenge, where I am attempting to answer the hypothetical question of if a successful ballet company were to approach me, of all people, to design costumes for their production of the Nutcracker, how would I go about that? Now, for some ground rules. I'm attempting to add some diversity to the designs and casting while being respectful, so if I make a mistake with the cultural costuming, just let me know, leave a nice comment. Furthermore, I am attempting to keep in mind where the eye is going to be drawn more than usual, because recently I went to a Nutcracker production and the top part of the costumes were very complicated. The bottom parts were usually just plain tights. And this had the unfortunate side effect of drawing your eye towards the legs and then the crotch of the performers, which it was very unfortunate. This didn't happen with every character. Some of them were wearing like full-length dresses and stuff, but yeah. So that's something I want to keep in mind more than I usually do, because it's really just distracting, especially on stage. And these designs are meant to be danceable and wearable and not necessarily animatable. But if you'd like to try animating these, by all means, I'd love to see it. If you want to redesign them to make them more simple, I totally get it. Okay, first up we have Clara, also known as Marie in the book. It's a very standard Clara we have here, except for the fact that I made her plus size because of that diversity thing I was talking about. And also, it allows me to add more rounded and squared shapes to her, which allow for the dichotomy of friendly, nice girl in PJs versus the goddess of destruction that people view her as in the book. By the people, I mean the people from the lands of the sweets and the snow fairies, because she destroys the Mouse King with a single throw of a shoe. So, yeah. And Drosselmeyer is like the only one I really added to out of these three in this clip. I added some crescent moons because it's a symbol of mystery, and I added a little medal that you get in the Victorian Russian army if you get injured on the battlefield, to be a little sort of explanation for his missing eye. Clara's mom and dad, I just swapped the hair color and body size that Fritz and Clara had. You get it. And their Christmas colors, because it's a Christmas show. This only really became Christmas because of America. Beforehand, it was just a story that happened to take place on Christmas. Here we have two guests of the party. Not much to it. Yeah, the hat the kid's wearing is actually a thing from the production that I saw. I don't know if that's a standard thing, but they were all given this hat, so I thought it was interesting. This Nutcracker design is based off of the first one I've ever owned. This is him in his human form. I know he might look a little bit older than Clara, but yeah, that was sort of an accident. I had to keep the facial hair because that's the way Nutcrackers work. I just toned it down. I guess this one's like a teenager and she's sort of aged up. It takes place in the Victorian era. The hand wave. I don't know, man. I'm just work here. Mouse King, Mouse King, Mouse King. Oh, I love the Mouse King design so much. This is actually the same Mouse King from my Inktober series. I like to imagine that he's a ballet performer in his spare time. And this Mouse King would also be wearing the cape that the Inktober one has. It's just he took it off so that way you can see his rad mouse body. where even the buttons are made out of mice, his shoulder pads are made out of mice, the ruffled collar is mice. He has a medal that's a mouse. It's great. It's great. It's great. I love it. I love it so much. Um, 'cause he's the seven-headed mouse king in the book, so that's why he's made out of so many mice in this. This is the Mouse Queen, who's a character from the book and the specific ballet production of the Nutcracker and the Hard Nut. So anyway, this is kind of a basic design for her. It's just mouse. She's her face is actually based off of a type of mouse called the elegant mouse, and the fact that that's a type of mouse is really funny to me for some reason. You're welcome for that trivia. Okay, I'm really excited about this one too. The Snow Queen and the Snow Prince, or whatever their names are, I don't really know. There's so many different names for them. I decided to base their designs off of ice skaters, and it's really cool. And also their poses are based off of that. And I'm really giddy and excited about this one. And for the complication happening in the legs that I was talking about earlier, I used a little bit of salt to try and replicate snow. So when it dries, it'll look like little ice crystals and it'll be really pretty. Okay, here we have a snowflake and an angel. I'm not really too happy about her skirt, but the rest of her is pretty alright. Um, yeah, these two designs are pretty boring. Not really sure what to say. Just kind of basic, kind of bland, kind of boring. Not much different. So just gonna not talk. Although this is the best song in the whole show. Don't don't fight me on this. I know what I'm talking about. When there's a part in this that when you see it in person, it's so amazing because you're sitting through all these songs which they're kind of similar-ish, and then when the Snow Queen song gets to that one part, mwah, it's so great. I'm not gonna spoil it, but like if you know, you know, you know. Okay, so for the sugar plum fairy, there's two ways of going about this: making her look like an actual plum, or what a sugar plum looks like, which is like a seed ball, which sometimes has a little bit of sugar. So I made her hair and her face resemble a traditional sugar plum, and then the rest of it is based off of like actual plums. And so like there's plum leaves around her waist and stuff like that, and a little plum brooch. And then originally I was going to give her an afro to resemble a sugar plum, but I thought that would be too big and get in the way of dancing, so I shrunk it down into space buns, and I think it makes it a lot cuter. As for the cavalier, this was kind of tricky because I didn't know how to exactly do it. So then I just took a cavalier design and then candified it, and I think it turns out great. Okay, chocolate from Spain. So obviously it's a flamenco dancer because that's a dance style very popular there, and flamenco etymology something something flame, fire, hot, hot chocolate, and also that's how it's depicted everywhere else. And she has the flower of the mallow plant, which is where we get marshmallows from. Um, which you put in hot chocolate, obviously, and her earring is meant to resemble a cacao. And her fan is meant to look like it's made out of chocolate bars. And that's about it. It's a very simple design, but it works. All right, coffee from Morocco.
So I tried giving him a traditional Moroccan outfit based off of a vintage photo that I found. And his little sash there is meant to look like a coffee cup. His buttons are meant to look like coffee beans. He has a little hat that I made to look like a coffee cup lid. I don't know if that's offensive. I'm sorry. And he has Vialagro. I don't know how to pronounce it. Um, because like coffee and cream, you get it? And yeah, I hope I didn't mess up. Moving on to tea from China. And I based the outfit off of Chinese ballet. Um, it's probably partially based off of those ballets that are funded by that one cultist from China who got banished to America. And yeah, it's a funny story. Anyway, so the costume is meant to look like tea bags. I got that idea from a friend of mine on how to translate the style into tea, and I think it looks really pretty. Ugh, the Candy King design was surprisingly difficult. It kept turning out too creepy. So weird. But finally I figured out a way to make this thing endearing. Um, I guess the smile was too big and the eyes were too happy, you know? But I fixed it. It's fine now. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Little green tassels are meant to look like peppermint leaves. And yeah, just a happy little clown boy. And he's juggling peppermints because, yeah, usually they give him like a hula hoop apparently, but I didn't know that. I just did this because it's cute. Marzipan. What even is a marzipan? Apparently, it's like this weird dough roll that you put into slices, and it's made out of almonds. And thanks, I hate it. It's the most visually uninspiring thing I've ever seen. All I got is pastel, round, and almond. And also, it's the panpipe song that everybody knows. So yeah, I just did that. I just used the circle shape and the almond shape over and over again until we got something. And I'm not proud of this. This is the least inspiring design I have for any of my characters in this, and I hate it. Thanks a lot. Now, Mother Ginger, on the other hand, I really like this character big time. Uh, like, I mean, she has like one of the funniest songs in the whole thing. Well, funniest dance, and I don't know. I just love the gimmick of the really big dress and usually a guy in drag, and then these tiny little children pop out. I don't know why that's funny to me, um, but it is. And her little gingerbread babies are called Pagliaccis in some versions, so that's why I opted to make them into clowns, as you'll see later. Uh, and I just really like this character. I don't know why. It's just great little, a great little fun moment. It's not really plot integral, but really what is in the Nutcracker. She's just, it's just a bit really fun. I don't know. It's always a highlight to see how they do the dress because it's always different every time and yet the same, you know? She has like a tambourine that's a peppermint, by the way, and her dress is meant to look like an oven. And she has the classic mom braid that you see in anime a lot. And yeah, it's not much to it. It's just a really fun character that I really like for some reason. So here are the Pagliaccis I was talking about, and Pagliacci is a character from Commedia dell'arte, which has like a lot of clown characters in it. So all of these are characters from Commedia dell'arte, which apparently is an improv thing, which I didn't know until recently. Um, and I think the reason why they're Pagliaccis in the first place and not just gingerbread men is because it gives the theater that the Nutcracker is being performed at an excuse to break out their old Pagliacci costumes from their old Commedia dell'arte costumes, but like child size or something. I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch. I don't even know if Commedia dell'arte was still a thing in 1890. Is that? I think that's when the Nutcracker came out. I'll have to fact check that. Yeah, it's just fun. These are some of the least easy to translate into actual costumes for people, but like, I don't know. It's cute and fun, and I love how the gingerbread texture came out on these. I'm real happy with it. Here we have the two baker characters that appear in this scene for some reason. I don't think they're in every version, but I thought I'd put them in anyway. And they're gingers because they're related to Mother Ginger, I assume. Oh boy, the flowers. Can I just skip the flowers? Because, like, this is pretty obvious. You just take the flower part, turn that into the skirt, make the top look like leaves, etc., etc. The three that I chose are like a poinsettia because it's a Christmassy flower. I think that yellow one is chamomile. I forgot what the purple one was. Chamomile is used in tea and it's edible, so like it fits the food theme we're having here. Not sure what the purple one was. I forgot. It's pretty simple, run-of-the-mill flower people. Not much to talk about. Now, Dewdrop, on the other hand, now that was interesting. I don't think she's in every production. I think this was just something that the one that I saw was doing, but I like the challenge. So I put teardrop shapes everywhere on her, and I gave her like this umbrella shape to her dress because water, and shoes that look like rain boots. I don't think they would actually be rain boots because those seem hard to dance in. But, it's meant to invoke that idea. And even her nose is teardrop shaped. And she has a little tiara made of teardrops. And I gave her sort of a warmer color palette to differentiate her from the snow people. Also, that dewdrop thing on her arms isn't literal. It's just meant to invoke the idea of the water being affected by gravity, dropping from one leaf and going on to another. It's supposed to be metaphorical or something. Similarly, I do not think Rosebud is in every production, just the one that I saw with my mum earlier this month. But it's still fun. I even made her hair have a pink tint, and I made her cheeks nice and rosy. She has a little rose in her hair. Her dress is meant to look like a rosebud. There's like spikes on her waist and on her gloves to be like thorns. It's all very cute and adorable and so soft and pink. Okay, time for the toy soldiers. So these are based off of my toy soldier look from my Christmas intro because connected universe, baby. And this one amputee soldier is a reference to Hans Christian Andersen's story of the steadfast soldier, and right below him is the ballerina from that story that he falls in love with. I'm guessing. I've only seen the Disney Fantasia 2000 adaptation. I haven't read the original Hans Christian Andersen one. So I'm assuming that those characters are in there. And if other productions can just throw in new characters, so can I. And the music that I have playing in the background is Pictures at an Exhibition, I think is the name of the song. And there's a part of that song where it's like a not finished Nutcracker thing moving around. So yeah, I think that song would go pretty well with the hopping on one foot choreography that's going to happen. Unless he can do handstands. No, that's silly. So yeah, it's just a cute little thing. Okay, so earlier on in the show, Unky Drasselmeyer, brings out these two wind-up dancer automaton things. And so, yeah, this is them. They're meant to look like they have gears all over them without literally being gears. That are sort of like brass in color. And yeah, they're supposed to look like they're literally made for each other. And she has cracks on her legs because dancing, I would assume, would slowly wear down the porcelain that makes up the dolls. And Yeah, it's very simple. Right now they're in their off position, so their eyes are closed, but if their eyes were open, you would see that their pupils are gears. And I didn't feel like putting in the key because you wouldn't be able to see it from this angle, but I imagine that it'd be very ornate. Um, and yeah, it's very simple. I think these are very well put together designs, though. They're very cute. They match each other very well, and yeah. Here we have this little street merchant peddler guy who sells toys or really gives them away in the production I saw. I don't know if this is a standard thing again or if they just added this for whatever reason, but I'm doing it anyway because I have room on the paper. Gosh darn it! Um, so it looks like he's in the cold. His clothes are worn down. His boot, you can see his toes through it. Um, yeah, and he has like very colorful toys in the box, and he even has the street lamp from the opening. There's not much to it. It's just kind of there. Still, he looks very tired and sort of adorable in an old man sort of way. Oh, good. It's almost over. We're on the last one. Now, you might be wondering why Marie Clara, whatever's bed is a character. That's because some productions it moves around. Really tired. I'm gonna take a nap after this. It moves around, and in order to do that, it needs a performer underneath it. And in cases where that's true, it's technically listed as a character. And it's kind of funny to leave off on a bed. Bed. Yeah, anyway, the brass golden coloration of the post are green because lighting is blue on stage. And